Hello, my lovely ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching. Today we are gonna have an episode where I tell you the secret list of things that we do. I'm gonna invite you to take a closer look at your own behavior to see if you're doing it at all. I'll be talking about patterns of behavior that we as humans fall into. And so if you do fall into any one of the patterns I'll be describing, that's great news that you're recognizing it in yourself. You're human. This is how you're dealing with post-divorce situation. And our ultimate goal is to help you zoom out on your life and see how your own patterns that you have fell into, how they are sabotaging your life specifically. So, get yourself something yummy to drink. Might be a good idea to take some notes so that things start making sense as we go, because I'll be giving you quite a bit of information. So first of all, I want you to understand the main feeling that inspired me to record this video and create this list is emptiness. The hollow feeling that we feel after we get divorced. It's part of grieving. It's very, very normal to have that feeling, but many of us don't expect it to show up when we lose life. That was super frustrating to us, right? There's going to be so much sadness and so much grief. Can you manage that and deal with it consciously? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Many of us have no idea how to. And so because we don't know, we fall into the patterns of behaviors I will be describing to you today. I'm gonna give you each one of them, and I encourage you to really, if you need to pause this video and think to yourself, am I doing this or am I not? So the problem of these patterns is that they are protective, and we think that we're protecting ourselves from that pain, but they actually become traps. It's a temporary fix. But if you don't catch that pattern on time, it will become a permanent prison, and we do not want that. You do not want that, because the consequences of that are much, much worse than what many of us predict. We basically start dying from inside. Many of us, because we don't know how to deal with emptiness, we build a life around it. So the first one, and it's pretty obvious, is when you keep tabs on your ex. And you do this a lot. It's an energy leak. The person that you should really move on from, you're still connected to him energetically. And you do this by, for example, like being sneaky, right? Checking his social media profiles. So ask yourself, how much do you do that? How often? And why? What are you trying to get out of it? What is the feeling that you're trying to get? Some of us do this because we're looking for a proof that the sacrifice was worth it, or that he's not happy. But basically what you're doing is you're feeding your life force to the past, right? Things that you have already or should already be moving on from, you're not moving on. Your precious life force is leaking out of you. Now, this next one is pretty complex, and it can be a little bit trickier to discover because it involves things that we do anyway. It's just like kind of part of life. So things like shopping. I mean, we shop, right? We shop for food, we shop for different things. But have you been shopping way more than before? Is your shopping turning into compulsive spending? Meaning that any time that you kind of feel sad, you go to these different online stores and start looking, and boom, there's a package, and it's like Christmas again. You get dopamine twice. First from buying, then from receiving the gift. It's Christmas. Because we have this justification. It's like, I went through something super difficult. Now I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna do these nice things for myself. Oh, I can buy this for myself. I have the money. I can buy it, right? It's not a good pattern to develop because it can get out of control and you might put yourself in debt. Another thing that is also a little tricky because we still kind of do it on a daily basis is eating, is food. Are you overeating? Have you gained weight ever since you got divorced, or have you lost? A lot of you will lose it and then you will start gaining because dust has settled and now it's time to see what's around, and there's this emptiness that we try to fill. Sometimes it's eating, sometimes it's drinking. But then let's talk about dating, because that's another distraction. Think about what is your relationship with being single. Do you have this inner need to be in a relationship? It is so normal to, do the rebound and not necessarily fall in love, but to be in a relationship with someone just so that you are in a relationship with someone and someone listens to you when you call them and you feel seen to some degree. Those relationships are very normal to happen. There's often a lot of shame related to it, right? Because we feel like we shouldn't, and yet we do this. Different reasons. Sometimes it's the emptiness, and it's the fact that we have so much pain in us that we need another person to distract us from ourselves, and all we want is just to have this other human being to kind of give us a sense of validation. But also, like I said, distraction. Sometimes it's where we walk into this, post-divorce timeline and we're like, this is not supposed to be a long period of time until I find another person. Like, I'm not supposed to be single. This was something that I fell into. I remember when I was talking to my ex-husband about getting divorced, and he said something to me about how it won't be difficult for me to find another partner. And I kind of just shrugged. I didn't really think about looking for another partner at the time. But somehow I never questioned that, and somehow, some way, my mind made it mean that I should. I never really examined, but I had this thought that so I should not be single for a long time. Sometimes we do this. Just be aware that if you don't decide for yourself, other people might plant things in your mind and give a direction to your life because you haven't decided, you haven't given it to yourself, So somebody else did, and so they've decided for you. So, it really doesn't matter if it's dating or if it's overeating or overdrinking. The dynamic, the pattern is the same. We're just escaping. Now, with overdrinking, overeating, overspending, when you're suffering, you get hit with dopamine, right? The pleasure hormone. And so, of course, we want that, right? And our brains get very, very easily addicted to those behaviors. Yeah, it will feel good for a little bit, but at the end of the day, you feel like you're still not addressing the pain that you have within you. It's like a temporary band-aid. Well, the relationship aspect of it, if you feel like you have fallen into the rebound relationship, one or maybe multiple, because you haven't addressed the pain within you, you can't really go deep in a relationship with another human being. You are not gonna feel seen or understood. And then what's the point of that anyway, right? What's the point? It becomes just a distraction. Sometimes the main theme of the pattern will be escapism. And so it's not just like one main thing, it's all of it. Your whole life is built around this escape from your inner pain. And so you wake up, TV is immediately on, or radio is immediately on, or you go online and you constantly just scroll. Busy. Feeding your mind constantly with stuff. You have a lot of friends. Many of those relationships are not deep by any means. Nope. Because you're doing escapism. So you cannot go deep in the relationship. You cannot have a deeper conversation. You cannot be a witness to somebody else's deeper feelings, the pain, because you haven't met yourself there. And so it's going to be very uncomfortable to be that for another human being. But you do have a lot of friends in those patterns. You are always busy, always feeling like you are needed and there's a purpose to what you're doing. And it's like, you just, constantly doing this. But none of it is thought through. It's actually quite chaotic. And at the end of the day, you're just running away from yourself. And you're exhausted. You're exhausted from this running. You know why you're exhausted? Because you're running away from silence. And you're training your mind to be afraid of silence. Our world makes it so easy, right? Just enough to just go on social media and start scrolling. I mean, it's so addictive. If you do this and never stop, you will have less and less and less and less tolerance and more pain. You will become weaker and weaker and weaker. Because what gives us strength is the ability to be with ourselves in those emotions that are not comfortable, right? That's what builds that muscle of tolerance for the darker areas of our psyche. And if you're just running away from yourself into pleasure constantly, into connection, into being with other people, into being occupied, into this energy that's coming outside of you, it's not good. Because the answers are in the stillness. And you're training yourself to run away from the stillness. Another pattern that is deeply connected with some of the beliefs that we have in our society that are very, very toxic, but not many of us talk about this, is how when we are going for the divorce and we get out of the divorce, like we are supposed to be fine. Everything is supposed to be great. And there's no space, really, like genuine, real space for, you know what, I am lost, I'm heartbroken, I don't know what I'm doing. This is really, really hard. I feel overwhelmed 90% of the time. This is hard. In our society, there's not much space for that, is there? No, you're supposed to be doing really great. You're supposed to be this free, independent, strong woman, right? Well, what about this other side of things? When you're experiencing those feelings I told you. Well, if you believe that you are not supposed to, of course you will put up this front of, yeah, I'm fine. And on top of it, for many, we start looking to find proof that we're fine. Let me prove to everybody that I'm doing great. Here's another job promotion. Here's another, project. This is what I'm taking on. That's what I'm taking on. We keep ourselves busy, specifically with work, and we're overscheduling. It's exhausting. And we think that exhaustion is success. It's not. It's not success. It's exhaustion. We don't ever stop and ask ourselves, what am I running away from? What am I running away from? So if you've been doing this, my love, ask that. What have you been running away from? Because that pattern guarantees you burnout. It does not guarantee you purpose. It guarantees you burnout because you are running away from yourself, and that action is driven by fear of what's within you. That action is not driven by desire to contribute, to create something amazing, to create your legacy, right? It's just like, no, I'm just running away from me. And so here is this incredible evidence how great I can do that. Except when I am exhausted, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel at peace. Only you know if you're doing this because you're the one that's alone with yourself and your own mind in the evening. You know when you're alone what happens in your head. Another trap is when we start ruminating too much. And this, be aware, because sometimes we just have this in our personality where we are very we are melancholic and we just love to think about the past and think about the great old times. And it's just like, it's all about just like what was. And we search for comfort and certainty of what was. But when we have a painful story in the past, what's gonna happen is we will start thinking a lot about the arguments. We reassign the blame. We just be like hang out in the past from like even a different angle. Because the first example I gave you when I told you about like checking your ex's profile and being connected energetically to him, that's one version of it. But what I'm talking about is like when you make your life all about the divorce and all about how unfair it was, and you start just spending so much time in that story without getting any new answers, really. And you keep on sending your energy to the past because there's one thing that's certain about that past. You're gonna feel pain looking at it because it was painful. But you know that you're gonna experience that. And so there's comfort in the certainty. Even if what you're getting is not pleasant, you can be certain that you're gonna get that pain. And so that feels better than the uncertainty of the future. But how can you create a better future for yourself if 90% of your energy goes to the past? By keeping the past alive and by keeping alive the pain, that story of pain. You can do it, right? The reason why you will keep on going back there and keep on like feeding that story is that there's the part of you that was very hurt by it, that needs acknowledgement and needs peace. The pattern number 5, I think, is when we just collapse, when we completely abandon the agency that we have and we just give up on our future because we feel like, what's the point? Like, you know, you already had a future planned. You already knew what it was supposed to be like. You've lost it. You have absolutely no direction, no idea what should be happening next. You have not grieved the future. You have you're kind of in a paralysis. You're stuck. How can we tell that we're stuck? And we are in that specific pattern I'm talking about when we we collapse. Well, look around you. Is your house clean? Did you make your bed this morning? Did you brush your teeth this morning? What about bills? Are you paying your bills on time? How is your sink looking? Is your sink full of dishes? Or are you keeping up? When did you take a shower last time? When the big purpose of our life is gone and with the future we feel like it is, because that future died, right? The one that we had planned with our ex-spouse. It's like, what's the point? What's the point of doing all the things? So we let them slide. We let the dishes slide. We let the bills slide. We don't take a shower. And your external world becomes a really good reflection to what is happening within you. It becomes chaotic. That pattern will confirm one of the biggest fears that we have, and that is that we are not capable of handling the responsibility of living on our own without our ex-partner. And this just confirms that we're not good enough. It confirms our lack of worthiness. It confirms that we're worthless. Now, you maybe have had that belief in you before you even walked into the marriage. Maybe marriage was something that has helped develop that belief that you're not worthy. But now you just have tons of extra evidence that that's true. Okay, my love, those were the patterns. If you have found yourself in anything that I have mentioned, congratulations, that's very good. It means that your awareness is growing. And if you have found a pattern, it means that you now have a chance to shift it, to stop it, to pivot. I want you to be aware of a few things. Number one, how to do this. Well, let's say that you resonated with that first example where it's like you always go to social media and you just when you scroll through, you go to your ex's profile and you do your little patrol. Maybe when you find yourself doing that, where you're like, oh, I'm on his profile again, the next thing that you do, because you have to consciously interrupt the pattern, right? You don't want to fall back into it. So you decide for yourself, okay, this is the pattern I'm doing. I don't want to be doing this anymore. From that point on, I'm going to be doing this and this and this and that. And so you structure for yourself your next sequence of behavior. And for example, it would be where, okay, if I do this, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to put away my phone. I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk to my bedroom. I'm going to grab my journal and I'm going to sit down and write out 10 things I'm grateful for in my life today, for example. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the music that I really love and I'm going to dance around my kitchen. I strongly recommend that you choose an interruption that is pleasant but beneficial, right? So the interruption is not going to be where I go to the fridge and I look for chocolate cake, right? It's not going to be the interruption. Something that's good for you. Something that you like, it doesn't matter. Dancing, I love to dance. That for sure is good for me. I love it. And I'm listening to lyrics, I'm listening to song that uplifts me, it makes me feel good. That's how we shift the pattern. We make a decision on what it's gonna be, and then we are patient with ourselves. We are patient because if the pattern is established, it means that there has been time and time and time, over and over and over, when you have put your energy into that pattern of behavior. And so you sent it, you sent your energy there, and you've created a safety around that whole experience. And so your mind will want you to go for that dopamine. It will want you to go for that sense of safety and certainty. And this is where the true work starts, right? Where we become an adult, responsible for our own energy, responsible for our own choices. This is an opportunity to take an agency of your life and really start consciously shifting energy on purpose. This is a skill that is priceless and strongly recommended for anything in your life. If you want to have a really good life experience, you have to create that good life experience, right? I'm talking about personalizing your future, making life so yummy, filling it with things that really drive you forward and make you feel so good that you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I'm just so happy to be alive. And we want to remember that this emptiness that we feel that we're running away from is, well, it's a result of a humongous shift. It's like you had a house, you burned it to the ground. Now there's a clear space. This clear space is a sacred space, is a 0 point filled with possibility. Now it's a fertile ground. We want to use our strength and we want to use our wisdom gained from looking at the past and like taking out the essence of the wisdom that was there to create much better life experience. What you're really doing, what I'm talking about you doing, is it's like you're taking a self-sabotage and you're trading it for self-investment. It's not about eliminating the feeling. It's about consciously directing your energy. Now, some of you might be like, well, but it's still running away from the emptiness, right? You're just doing it differently. Like if I dance and I interrupt the pattern, I'm still not touching on the emptiness. You're absolutely right. I gave you an easy solution and I gave you a tool to shift out from the energy. Of course, there are some other ways. I'm not going to go deeper into this here, but I want you to know that yes, that feeling of emptiness can be addressed and softened with consciousness and with transmutation. That can happen. You can do this. I do this with my clients. You know, when they come to me, they oftentimes have this deep sadness, this deep sense of grief. The thing about grief is that there are parts of it that we can manage and there are parts of it that we can't, but the parts that we can manage is also that emptiness, right? We want to be very clear on when you're experiencing it the most, how we want to feel it, what we want to do. Of course, being a coach, I help with that. Feel like you're ready to do the deeper work, contact me, let's talk. I also want to just mention it in this video because I know that some of you are brand new to me, you've never seen me, you don't know what I do. I'm a coach for divorced women And one of the things that I specialize is closure. It's closure of the past, where we look at what happened and we really analyze it very, very deeply so that you can pull out all the wisdom that you can. We create a sense of acceptance, sense of peace, and we really seal it with love. So then you have a lot of energy and a lot of focus to be able to create that new life for yourself. First of all, to be able to get to know yourself here and then to create that life. You can schedule one-on-one consultation with me. This is where we talk about your situation. We see if I am the right person to help you. You can schedule it right on my site as well. Listen, girls, we have gone through something super difficult. And we live in a society that wants us to pretend it wasn't hard and want us to, without giving us tools, we're just supposed to be excellent on this side of things. Life's supposed to be easy and great and excellent. That's not how it is, right? So give yourself credit for what you have already done. And please recognize that if you have found a pattern or a bunch of them, that is just a signal that you are a human being and your mind is doing exactly what it should. It takes you away from the pain. That's what it's supposed to be doing. That's the way God designs your mind to be doing that specific thing. And so nothing has gone wrong. One more thing, if you have found multiple patterns, I would love to have you start from the one that feels the least intimidating. Not the hardest one, but the easiest one to break, okay? Because you want to build a muscle, you want to build a belief. And a good way to do it is when we just start gently. All right, my loves, please comment any thoughts you have about what I have shared in the comments section. I read all of the comments. I answer to them all on my own. This is a new channel. It's been really, really fun reading the comments from you and being able to connect with you after the video that way. So if you have any questions, any thoughts really that came to your mind as you were listening to this video, I would love to know what they are. Of course, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your friends. If you have any girlfriends that have been divorced, share it with them. Again, we live in a society where we're just supposed to be perfect. Everything is supposed to be easy and we're supposed to just breeze through it and go to the next part of our life like nothing terrible has happened. That just puts such a toxic, awful pressure on us, but also causes us not to talk about the difficult. That's why I want you to share it, because I hope that some of your friends will find truth and solutions to their pain in this video as well. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.